Brace yourself, slave of an evil blade. This is as far as you go.
Greetings. This is top tier tips.
How cliche. Demon, leave this place.
Greetings everyone. Force Nature here of Top Tier Tips, bringing you the guide that will slay demons.
Demon, leave this place.
That's right, we're looking at the badass ninja Taki herself. Alright, so just get straight into it. Just let you know now that Taki is just a straight up, she's one of the fastest characters in the game, but unfortunately it comes at the expense that she's also happens to be one of the shortest range characters in the game, and also that her and also that she can be maybe a little unsafe if you end up just playing her kind of a bit like recklessly or wildly, but of course that can apply to a lot of characters. But anyways, before you really go about trying to learn like anything with like a Taki or anything at all, I definitely recommend going in down here to the combat lessons and then just searching for Taki, who's just right here. And as you see right here, there's a bunch of little lessons and all that you can help you out. So right here, just take a look straight up at the fighting styles. Alright, so pretty much in the SoulCalibur series, including SoulCalibur 6, Taki is the main ninja character, so yes, her fighting style is based around ninjutsu and demon exorcism. Alright, so I mean her fighting style, as you can see right here, is called Muso Batu Ryu, and it's as was kind of mentioned earlier, basically if you just like blister and speed and just generally having fast attacks where you can interrupt your opponent easily or just kind of lock them down in close range, then Taki is the girl for you. Alright, but just moving along, I'll give you a little heads up that, yeah, if you're coming from SoulCalibur 5, I will say that despite having similar moves, Taki actually does play fairly differently to Natsu. What I mean though is a lot of kind of certain key moves that Natsu was kind of based her playstyle around, kind of like stuff like her A+B, her 6-6B, and other moves like that, or like her 6-6B Brave Edge. Those type of moves for Taki are pretty much can only really be accessed from her special stance called Possession, which is usually acquired by going into like quarter circle. You can do it manually by doing quarter circle back, or usually a lot of different moves, different kind of techniques that I'll show you can end up going into Possession, which is a big part of her playstyle. But right here you can see that for Taki, some key moves are right here. As you can see, her forward 4B, also called 6-6B. I'll just be going by the number notation, which you can see down in the info for this video for if you want to know what the notation is. So 6-6B is just her forward 4B stab move. It's similar to like Natsu's from SoulCalibur 5. Her command throw is forward A+G, and her main break attack is her bomb attack called A+B. You'll end up seeing that quite a bit in this guide. When you're first like trying to learn Taki, alright, here you have to excuse me if I end up saying like Natsu by mistake, because yeah, I was pretty familiar with Natsu in SoulCalibur 5, so I might sometimes get the two mixed up. But the main thing, especially if you're coming from SoulCalibur 5, is just trying to understand the kind of differences between the characters. If you're coming from SoulCalibur 4, then yeah, you should seem pretty at home. But right here in the Adept lesson, I'll give you a heads up right now that the move you may see it down there called Back BA4, just Back BA, so 4 BA4. This move is a pretty key move with Taki. And in the sense though, is it can be good as either like combo filler or just a general like poke throughout. I tend to like 4BA quite a bit. Alright, as you see down here, you see the thing called the Explosive Talisman forward BB. That's the move that just does her forward B strike. Then the second attack will be like a kind of a bomb move. So that one's also a pretty neat one right there. And yeah, in the last session, just basically just telling you about different possession moves like Possession B and stuff like that, and how 4BA4 can go into possession. So, I mean, once you kind of familiarize yourself with that, then you can go on. Like this right here is 4BA. See, the first attack is a fairly fast vertical attack. The second one is a horizontal attack. And you can see right there that it goes into the possession stance right there. Like this one's like forward BB. See right there, there's a bomb. You can also, in her forward A plus B is another similar attack. These are, I think, new techniques for her in SoulCalibur 6.
No escape.
See this one right here
No escape.
allows her to like go into her, you can see, can go into her possession attack and do the different possession moves like out of it and stuff like that. And right there, you can like use it as step kill, forward, AA. So yeah, there's a bunch of little techniques that you can do with Taki. I find in general that a main focus with Taki is basically to try and basically just get in your opponent, and similar to like what I ended up saying in my Sophia guide is that Taki's another character that's really good when she could be in her opponent's face, especially if he has any advantage whatsoever. Then what you really generally want to do is just find like different ways to be able to like to find different ways, like right there, just to transition into possession. Like there's quite a bunch of ways to do it, so what I want you to do is just try and find what ways end up suiting you, but I'll be going over that more and more throughout this guide. Alright, starting off, the first thing I want to look at with Taki is just simply just get in on your opponent. Alright, so we're going to be starting out here around the kind of mid-range to like long-range neutral. Alright, Taki's movement in general is pretty good. Like you said, she's pretty damn swift, so pretty damn light on her feet, so it's always good to know. Alright, so for Taki, moves that I kind of recommend for trying to get in your opponent. Something like her 6AA, which I also kind of showed can also go into her possession stance. Another move you can use is her 6-6K. For both these moves I just showed, 6-6AA and 6-6K they both have really good tracking capability, and well, yeah, so they basically, if the opponent tries to sidestep or anything else, they'll get whacked by it. And in the case of a 6-6K, it's a special mid, meaning that it's well, it'll hit the opponent if they're crouching also. But because it is a special mid, that means it can be blocked, standing, or crouching. But the main reason why you use this move is because it has good tracking capability. You get both kicks connect, you get 40 damage, and it also high crushes really well. And if I'm not mistaken, it also has the capability to leap over lows, so that means that you can only really hit this move with mids, if I'm not mistaken. And I know it high crushes really well, and it does have some low crush range, so this move really can connect really easy on an opponent. The downside to it is that the move is considerably negative. Considerably negative on blocks. I think it's about like around -16 or something like that. So I know it can be punished by like a standard character's BB, except for like Nightmare, who's kind of slow as shit. But yeah, most people BBs I think can punish a Taki like forward. So this is one of those that make you toss out when you're pretty certain that it's gonna hit, or if you're certain you're gonna interrupt something. But because of how well it high crushes and catches steps, this move generally hits more often than it's gonna be guarded, unless the opponent is just specifically looking out for that. And that's also why you have like this. And if you're not too far away, you can try and use her 6-6B, which is a really nice on normal hit or on like counter hit or lethal hit. So 6-6B is another option. I showed you a little thing earlier that you can try the forward 6A plus B. See this move here, which is like now a nice little range tool for her. It also can go into her possession rush stance, so you get your possession options out of it. Now, I'll show you the different possession options like that like in a little later. But for right now, other tools you can use like to go in is like her forward rolls, like her somersaults. I think they call like reverse wind. Like right here, as you see, it also has the ability, another option to go into her possession stance. You can do them from the side too, so that would be like 2B plus K, 8B plus K, and yeah, you can do like possession stuff after. Possession even has the ability to sidestep. Right there, that move I did is her stalker, her movement, where she leaps into the air and comes down, and she has her back to her opponent. If you hold it down, then she'll stay forward. So you have two options to go either back turned or stay in the front. So you can try and get like kind of trolly and like jump over the opponent. Alright, once you've gotten in with Taki, first I want to give you a congratulations. You're in. So you hopefully haven't been smacked around too much while you're getting, but once you do, Now is with Taki, I want you to basically just try and go into a bit of what I call lockdown mode. Alright, I'll let you know right now that just for some speed thing, Taki has the fastest AA in SoulCalibur 6 and basically most SoulCaliburs. It comes out in 10 frames. This is really good because most other characters' A's are usually like anywhere from like 12 frames to slower. I mean, crap, you don't even want to know like how slow Nightmare's AA is, but yeah, with Taki, she's got a 10 frame AA, and that can be fast enough to interrupt a lot of stuff. She does have 3 hits off of her AAA string, if I'm not mistaken. But the last hit there you see includes a little special load in there, so you can't really crouch the last hit that easily, so AA is always good. And of course, I might have showed you earlier that I really like the 6B A move, which can go into possession, and then what you can do is do some kind of possession A shenanigans. And if you like try and like sidestep or anything, you can hit them with like a possession 6A like I did there. So lots of like different like kind of possession crap you have. You also have like there's possession 6BA.
Ready?
Yeah, 6BA. So that's also like another like little stuff you can do. For instance, if you think the opponent is gonna try and like interrupt you with like a high or something, or if they're gonna try and like just disrespect your like frame advantage, you could use that as opposed to just continually like hitting them with that. But there's like a bunch of options you can do.
Get ready.
You also have like you also have your hover stance by doing long possession, doing B+A. So yeah, so that's just like a few possessions. But in close, I usually want you to do like AA. You also can use like BB, which also after BB you can also go into possession, so that's another option. KK can go into possession, so there's like a bunch of stuff like there. And for lows, you got 2K. There's also 1KK. The second hit I think is safer. I think it's safer. Isn't really much negative, but not fully sure of that. But I definitely remember in SoulCalibur 5 this move was safe on block, like 1KK. So yeah, so if you want a low option, you got that right there. But yeah, in close, if you do think the opponent may try and like sidestep you or anything, I mean, yeah, it does catch sidestep you that fast horizontal. But I also like the 6A BBB option. I'll give you a little heads up that the final hit is -10 on block, but of course, when it comes to like punishment or anything like that, Taki's the only character with a 10 frame high. So unless you're doing like a mirror match, you really don't have to worry about any sort of real kind of heavy response in the first place. But yeah, I mean, -10 you're not exactly advantaged, but you're not exactly really considerably unsafe either. So yeah, so this is another option to get some damage if you think a person's gonna sidestep, as opposed to just simply doing AAA. So like either choice is fine. And of course, if you have a little advantage, I don't mind just putting like 6B either on their block, because it is a plus frame guard break on the opponent's block. If they were to block it, you just either you get a launch on normal hits. So yeah, so there's like a few options you do, but generally what I definitely kind of recommend is either stuff that's up is just generally kind of safe to toss out, or stuff that can go into like possession, then you can try and start like possession mix-ups and stuff like that. Alright, so once you're kind of done just having fun, just frame trapping the opponent with different like possession like mix-ups and stuff like that, yada yada. What I want you to do now is to be able to apply actual mix-ups on the opponent. One of my mix-ups is input in lows and throws. Alright, I already mentioned earlier that her command throw is her forward A+G, and it does look pretty cool. Right there, you get a smooth 62 damage, where her other throws like here 48 damage for her neutral A throw. You get your 48 damage, or her back A throw.
Be gone!
Is her old B throw, and you get 52 damage. It's pretty good, but generally, of course, you want to be just getting smacking the opponent on the top of their shoulders or head with Taki's feet. So right there. So yes, that your forward A is your go-to throw. As for mix-ups, I think I might have mentioned some lows here earlier. Like I like I like the 1KK. 2K is fine, so I already went those in as your typical. She's got a good, nice, fast 2A right there. It is a special low, which means it can be blocked, stand in or crouch. And that's whenever you see a special on something, that usually means it could be blocked either way, standing or crouching. Alright, but a nice little low that I would like you to try and sneak in on your opponent is her 1B. Back in SoulCalibur 5, that would have been Natsu's 4A or back A. But this one, down back B. For Taki's, this is basically what I call the round ender. So the opponent has like a little bit of life left or anything like that and you want to kill them off, then just take your 22 damage here and you should get the kill. Alright, if SoulCalibur 6 does have a gut system similar to SoulCalibur 5, then if I'm not mistaken that this should be enough to go over the guts threshold unless they increase it, because the guts threshold is usually around 20 damage. So if a move does more than 20 damage, like 21 damage or more, then that means that it will not be scaled in any way and will just do 22 damage, and right here, you get the round ender. As you can see right here, this move always goes into possession. For better or worse, of course. Sometimes, of course, you just want to just do a poke, but yeah, it always goes into possession. So after that, I usually just recommend just do an A attack right here, no stats. If you think they're going to do a fast low or trying to like interrupt, then I just do like forward A or something like that, which will jump over any kind of like crouch lows, like any, if the opponent tries to like 2A out of it, then just do forward 6A out of that. And if you want another like fast option that I think can go under high, if you want to do forward 6BA, which I ended up showing you earlier, or if you know they're going to do like a low, then you can, or if you know they're going to like retaliate. If you know they're going to try and retaliate with something, then you can also hit them with this. But under most circumstances, when you're in possession, the opponent's basically going to try and block and maybe look for an opportunity to try and GI you. I will give you a small heads up with regards to the possession stance. That Taki doesn't have any kind of like low attacks or anything out of it, so you do have to be a little careful there. She does have a possession throw. Oh, I think she should have two. Oh, you see right there, she does have her like, she does have, yeah, right there, she has two possession throws, just a neutral A or like forward A, but other than those throws, which can be broken fairly easy with standard guard throw breaks, Taki doesn't really have any sort of lows or anything for mix-up. So as a result, opponents are probably going to be just honestly just standing blocking you a lot. So if opponent is actually just standing blocking you a lot and they're not really like necessarily like sidestepping for fear of getting hit by like a tracking move, then I do recommend just whacking them with whacking them with a possession B right here called the Dream Scroll. Like this move right here. This move right here is basically for an opponent that's overly defensive. Apart from doing like your possession throws, this is generally a nice go-to attack to throw on an opponent's block. Alright, before I go on, I just want to show you a couple other moves that you can try and just fit into your play style or gameplay or game plan. Is a couple moves here is her 9A, which is a jumping low there that causes a nice knockdown. So it's just kind of nice because whenever you have a jumping move, it's almost like an opponent's inclination to want to be just standing blocking, so you can kind of cheese them with that. You can mix it up there with jumping BB, which also is the same as like her the Wild Rising BB. This move is also pretty good for. This move's also, while Rising BB or Jumping BB is good for just getting some nice little damage, and also you can use it as like combo filler on like certain combos, so that's kind of neat. Another move also for opponents that like to spam 2As and 2Ks a lot, you can use the move which is input is K6. Like that right there. So it's a nice move to surprise people that like to spam lots of fast lows or anything, so just smack them like that. Alright, as for Taki's break attacks now, I'm going to be moving on to. Most of them are pretty much based around hitting the opponent with bombs. Your primary break attack is A plus B right here, so it's your typical bomb. Unfortunately, there's an unblockable version like Natsu had it back in SoulCalibur 5, but this move is still pretty good, so it's an advantage guard break on block, like most break attacks are, and as you can see right there, it launches pretty high. Other ways to get this is like with 6BB, and 4-4-B. As for combos off this, the general standard one you can do is
No escape.
just simply after A plus B bomb, you just do a B plus K. Then just do like her air throw like this.
No escape.
But I'll show you some other combos that you can end up doing with that. I'll end up just showing you like with A plus B or like 4-4-B or these. You can use the or like 6 Bs. The combos can usually work off of like enemies, but you might have to adjust some of the timings for them. But here we go.
Leave this place. Come. Stay down. Leave this place. Come. Come. This is as far as you go. I'll decimate you. How cliche. Come. This is as far as you go. I'll decimate you. How cliche. Leave this place. No escape.
Alright, once you're done playing around with Taki's bombs, let's just take a look at Taki's guard gauge harassment. Alright, as you could probably guess, some of Taki's best moves for rigging up the guard gauge on the opponent would be the bombs. As you saw right there, just your typical A plus B bomb ends up giving you a 15% on the guard crush. Let's see, other ones such as like 4-4-B right there ends up giving you like a lot. Here, I'll just reset it. So you see 4-4-B gives you like at least 20%. I think it's a little more than that, but it just rounds it to about 20, so that's a lot of guard gauge. The downside to 4-4-B is, as you see, it pushes the opponent quite a far away, and with a character like Taki, you generally don't want to be too far from your opponent majority of the time. With Taki, you generally want to stay nice and close, so you just do this one if you just want to get a nice little guard gauge or try and fish for a launch or something like that. So, whereas with the normal bomb right there, it just gives you 15 and the opponent stays nice and close. Another move I also like using for bringing up the guard gauge is something like Possession B right there. As you can see, it also forces crouch and does also does at least 15% guard gauge. So you could do something like 6A. Basically, as you see there, any move that ends up leading into possession, you can get Possession B. Here, right now, I got the guard gauge, as you can see right there in the little number thingies to the left side, top left, around there. You can see I've got it up to about 90%. So Nightmare's guard gauge is now flashing, is blinking bright red. This means that the next big move that I'll do will end up likely breaking the gauge.
Ready?
Like right there. If you end up breaking the gauge like that, you end up getting a guard burst, and that allows you for a free follow-up combo. Alright, once you got the opponent's guard gauge flashing blinker red like right here, like you got it all the way up to 99%. Alright, the recommended move I recommend for you to break the gauge with would be Taki's 6-6-B. Move comes out pretty fast, it's safe on block, so it's pretty much a low risk option for trying to break the opponent's gauge if it's in close. You can also use stuff like Possession B or 6KK can also break the gauge. Surprisingly, a move like A plus B, which runs up the guard gauge quite a lot, actually can't be used to break the gauge.
Leave this place.
So to break it, you'll have to use something like 6-6-B. Anyways, here I'll show you some stuff after you end up getting the elusive guard burst. Alright, at the end there you might have seen that I used a 6BB right here to cause the guard burst. You see right there, that's also a decent option too for causing the guard burst if you're certain that the second move is going to hit. And you always do get the launch if the second hit ends up bursting. But after a guard burst, be careful to not use it as the follow-up juggle, because the second hit is blockable like it was right there. Anyways, just be taking a look at Taki's throw game. In general, her throw game for the most part is kind of straightforward, but she does have a couple of tricks here and there. I'll just go to the standard throws right now. Alright, here's her A throw. Here gives you 48 damage. Her back A throw.
Be gone.
There we go, nice stabby stab for 52 damage. And her right throw. Don't turn it. And her right throw gets 62, and her left throw 2 if I'm not mistaken.
Farewell.
Also gets you 62 damage, and if you manage to throw the opponent from behind, you have to dump their ass for a smooth 70 damage. Alright, now I'm just going to show her 2 possession throws, which I might have shown early, but just a recap right now. Her possession A throw gives you 30 damage, and her possession forward A throw, the more optimal throw, gives you 45 damage. But if you're in Soul Charge,
Focus and release.
the possession forward A throw or 6A plus G throw becomes really good.
Get ready.
So right there you get an awesome animation like that, looks like an Azuna drop, and you get 60 damage, and if I'm not mistaken it's also unbreakable, so that's it's a pretty awesome throw. Alright, and also the only other throw missing now is Taki's air throws. You might have seen them a little earlier, but I'll just go for a recap.
No escape.
So anytime you hit an opponent with a bomb, you can get an easy 51 damage by doing B plus A and just doing A plus G, and you get the air throw. You might even have noticed before, if you didn't,
No escape.
you can bring out the opponent with the air throw. Even though it looks like Taki's bringing out herself, she gets the credit for the ring out. So you got the opponent's back to the corner, bomb plus stalker plus air throw becomes really dangerous. And if you want to be really cheeky, hit your opponent with this.
No escape.
The reverse mill, the reverse roll throw right there. 81 damage just from that. Hell, you can even just, if you want to be like, if you really want to just have your opponent's jaw drop, you can even hit them from behind.
No escape.
Right there and get 77 damage, just as much. So I mean that, even when Taki has her ass on the ground, you're never safe. You always have to be careful about any kind of hijinks that she can be doing, which makes Taki great. Alright, you did it. You got the opponent back in the corner and there's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. So now, I just want you to splat their ass so it can be party time for Taki. What I want you to splat them with, alright, use her, right there, her A6. That move is inputted by just pushing A then 6 really quickly, but be careful that there's also a just frame version if you can get like the, if I can show you right now. That one right there is the just frame. As you see, it just causes a crumple and doesn't wall splat the opponent, so I just want you to use that normal one right there. Other moves you can use to splat with is like her 6AA, her possession 2D, that one's also a good one. It also goes into possession a second time, and if you get scored a counter hit, which usually tends to happen pretty easily, and this is also a good combo move in general, is her while rising while rising K. Should wall splat, but sometimes it can be a little picky with it. Let me see if I can just show you right now. Yeah, right there. See, it can wall splat. But I'll just show you a few combos with a couple of those starters.
Ready? See, leave this place. This is as far as you go. How cliche.
Right, folks, it's time for Super Saiyan Taki. Alright, right there is just using her 6A BB. Yeah, that's right, that's 4 Bs. So you're in a already dangerous string, and just ended with a giant launcher. Alright, from her Soul Charge,
And release.
a particular string I like is her possession 6D AA. See right there, this
Ready?
bad boy with a lot of damage, and even get a nasty wall splat. Like right there with the wall splat was 85 damage, so that's really good. But
Focus
mainly with
and
Taki's Soul Charge, a lot of her strings ends up gaining like a bomb effect to them, like AA, 66 AA. I think there's probably some others. I know that her,
Ready, get ready. Slice.
let me see,
Focus and release.
her 3B like that actually gets a pretty neat effect. So like it's with that and
Focus
see, I know there's some other
and
moves.
release.
Like her 4A plus B or her 6A plus B and her possession B. So I know there's like a bunch of moves. So basically this is your choice in whether you want to try and combo into CE or if you want to use Soul Charge. With Taki, I would favor Soul Charge a little bit because it could be a little trickier to combo into Taki's CE compared to like other characters that can just do their 3B and just do like a CE after. So anyways, just see like whatever you prefer is what. But for me, I'm probably gonna favor Soul Charge slightly more. And also another thing also to keep in mind is that any move that uses like Taki's second ninja sword or ninja dagger, so the one that she uses with like her left hand, will end up doing like quite a bit of chip damage. Like I can show you here, just get Nightmare to block what I mean. Like you see right here, even this quick, whoa, easy there, Nightmare. As you see like right there, let me just take that off. See, as you see right here, that's a lot of chip damage from a really fast, like high. So any type of moves like this can do lots of chip damage. And of course in Soul Charge you can get off even more like crazy crazy chip damage. So yeah, so when you're in close, feel free to go a bit ham with moves like that on your opponent. Alright, just want to show you Taki's unblockables right now. Alright, her primary unblockable is her half circle forward or 4-1-2-3-6-B like so. The move gives you a nice little 50 damage, and it is completely linear, and like other unblockable moves, is slow as shit. But the nice thing about it is it does hit grounded, if I'm not mistaken. So you can occasionally use it as a trap for opponents that don't like tech roll to the side right away and stuff like that. Let's see. So another unblockable that Taki has is from her possession, which is actually an unblockable. You may actually get quite a bit of usage out of it. Is this one. With this unblockable, the nice thing about it though is that when the opponent's like respecting your mix-ups or whatever, you can actually, especially sometimes on wake up for an opponent that tech rolls, you can sneak in. After some setups, you can do something like a possession rush and smack him with this for an awesome 60 damage. So yeah, so try and like fit that into your game plan. But if the opponent shows that they can interrupt it quickly, then you're gonna have to stick to your normal possession options. Oh, a neat little attribute that Taki has is that with their reversal edge, she actually has the ability to cancel it out. What you do is when you do your reversal edge, your B plus G, just hold back and you'll cancel out of it. So what you can do is that you can parry a move with it, then just immediately cancel out of it, and then she ends up going into her possession stance like this. So you can just end up doing like moves or like anything like that. And also though, heads up, watch out that reversal edge does lower your guard gauge. Alright guys, that's it for now. I just want to thank you for joining me on this lovely Taki journey. Alright, before I go, I just want to like recap some stuff and give you like a few further tips. Alright, with Taki, like say for instance during the neutral game, if your opponent's defense sucks, then just feel free to just spam 66k on them, but be careful that if they block it, it is BB punishable usually by most characters that have like I-15 or faster BBs. During neutral, feel free to use different rolls and like stuff like that, or like her stalker stance, which has two directions. You just tap it, Taki's facing backwards. You hold it down, she's facing forward. The thing I like about the side rolls is that they're instant tech crouch or instant high crush moves, meaning that they're a sidestep move that goes under highs, and the forward one. And the forward roll also is an instant high crush and actually has let me try. The Also, it has some pretty some pretty dangerous follow-ups out of it too. Her side rolls have their own moveset right there, so there's so I mean you can kind of like mess around with this. This is a pretty handy move right here, and this move's also pretty good, and you see it has a GI property attached to it, so that so her side roll B move is pretty good. So as for any other things, I do along with her roll and her jump and stalker stance, also like get really comfortable with her possession. Like when in doubt, her A option is always a good one, and as you remember before, it does do chip damage. The possession even has different movement, like there's if you can do a possession sidestep, there's a possession rush. If you think the opponent's gonna like try and like attack you like right away or something, then you can. Then if they do something that doesn't go too high, then you can nail them with B plus K. I like this move for tracking or like backstep. This one also for backstep. That also has the really good soul charge version. And I like this move too. It also has high crush properties and it goes back into possession. So that's like kind of another thing with possession is also knowing like what kind of moves can go into chain into like possession again. But yeah, that's it for now. If you have any more further questions about anything related to this guide or anything like SoulCalibur fighting game related or whatever, then feel free to contact me on my YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Alright, and of course, if you have any further questions, feel free to ask them down below in the comments. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Top Tier Tips.
You can go straight to hell. Ready, get ready. Slice. Die. Ready, get ready.